On my channel, I've covered some pretty interesting humans over time, from Geoffrey Hudson, the real-life Tyrion Lannister, and even a current video I'm working on about Robert Waldo, the tallest man ever. But today, we're visiting someone who is unique in the sense that no person in recorded history has had the same combination of anomalies as him. I'm talking of Adam Rayner, the only person known to have been classified as a dwarf and a giant within his own lifespan. He was born in 1899 in Graz, Austria. Adam was born to parents who were both average height, but early on, Adam differed from other children as he was noticeably very small and weak. Not much is known about the life Adam Rayner led in his personal affairs, as it was his curious and unprecedented medical condition that dominated what's known about him. Early on, he was diagnosed with dwarfism. At 18 years old, he stood 122 centimeters tall, about 4 feet and a quarter inch, a full 9 inches below the typical defining characteristic of dwarfism in an adult. The little we do know about him is his apparent desire to serve in the US Army. With the outbreak of World War I, Geoffrey would have seen all his friends jump at the chance to join the army, and he must have felt obliged to do the same. He enlisted in the army, but was turned away by doctors who determined that he was too small and too weak to be an effective soldier. A year later, having grown 2 inches, he tried again but was once more turned away due to his medical condition. Although this time, the doctors noted something interesting in his report. Not only was Geoffrey classified as a dwarf, but he had the unusual possession of large hands and big feet for someone of his stature. He was listed at 4 foot 8 inches with a shoe size of 10. In 1920, Geoffrey turned 21 years old, and this is the typical age where adults stop growing. But for Geoffrey, this was far from the case. Amazingly, not only did he not stop growing, but he started growing at an alarmingly fast rate. Between his early 20s and early 30s, he gained an average of 3.6 inches per year. By the time he was 33, Geoffrey had grown into a giant. He had almost doubled in size, now standing at 7 foot 2 inches tall with a shoe size of 20. Between 1930 and 1931, Geoffrey was examined by doctors, during which time they discovered that he was suffering from a condition known as acromegaly. When you have acromegaly, the soft tissue from your body begins to swell. The swelling causes enlargements of the hands, feet, nose, lips, and ears. It also leads to thickening of the skin. But the swelling doesn't stop there, as it also affects your internal organs, especially the heart. It ultimately weakens the muscles and kidneys and causes the vocal cords to become distinctively thick, leading to the slowing of speech. In Rayner's case, this was caused by a tumor on his pituitary gland, which led to an overproduction of growth hormones in his body. This therefore was the reason behind his strange appearance. For Rayner didn't just have abnormally large hands and feet, he also had a protruding forehead and jaw, as well as thick lips set over widely spaced teeth. He also experienced issues with his spine, as it was increasingly curved sideways during his massive growth spurt. In 1931, they discovered that their hypothesis was correct after they performed surgery to remove the tumor. At the time, the operation to remove the tumor was very risky with a small chance of success, considering that the tumor had been growing for more than 10 years. Yet the doctors still managed to successfully remove the tumor, and a few months after surgery, Rayner was measured again. His standing height had remained the same, though his spinal curvature was more severe. This indicated that although it was happening at a much slower rate, he was in fact still growing. Rayner's health unfortunately continued to deteriorate. He went blind in his right eye and began suffering hearing loss in his left ear. Over time, his spinal deformity became so pronounced, Rayner was confined to bed. He was forced to enter a home for the aged where he remained for the rest of his life. He died in 1950 on March 4th at the age of 51. He had reached a final height of 7 foot 8 inches tall. Today, acromegaly has been mostly cured with medical pills, allowing doctors to shrink the tumors causing the problems or remove them altogether surgically. Geoffrey is quite the marvel of human anomaly, living through both dwarfism and giantism. He is the only man in history to be classified as both a dwarf and a giant, truly making him one of the most interesting humans to have ever walked the face of the earth. Thank you for watching, and leave down in the comments if you have any suggestions for future videos.